What's going on, YouTube? Guys, we're about a week into the new Season 3 of Call of Duty Warzone, so we've had the chance to jump into Verdansk, check it out a little bit, and even still, even with the new Verdansk 81 map released, I still think Rebirth is far superior in many different ways, and that's what we're going to be talking about today in today's video. But before we dive into that, guys, make sure you guys drop a like on this video, as well as leave a comment down below whether you guys recommend Rebirth over Verdansk, or vice versa, and why. I really want to see what your guys' opinions are. Every time I talk about this in chat over on our Twitch channel, there's a mixed variety of reactions and responses. So either way, guys, we're going to jump into the reason why I love Rebirth over Verdansk, and why you guys probably will not see me play Verdansk unless it's in a tournament or something like that going forward. And with that being said, guys, let's get into it. Peace. So, this would not be a Call of Duty video if I did not plug my socials, but guys, you are watching gameplay from our Twitch channel over on twitch.tv/ZevHadar. If you guys ever see me playing Warzone, which is most of the time, I'm only playing Rebirth, with the very rare exception that I'll be playing Verdansk when it is a tournament time or something like that. But again, if there's no tournament going, and I'm not playing with a specific friend of mine or not, whatnot, we are over on Rebirth. So check that out if you guys enjoy Rebirth gameplay. The link will be in the description below, twitch.tv/ZevHadar. Make sure you guys press that like button, comment, and with that out of the way, we can dive into the actual content of the video. So I will also mention too that when I mention Rebirth, there are different game modes, there are different LTMs that are rotating in and out, playlist updates that revolve around Rebirth, and the main Rebirth game mode that I'm talking about is called Resurgence. And basically, a quick background, Resurgence allows you to respawn as long as at least one member of your team is still alive. So obviously with squads, it's a little bit more fun than if you're playing duos, etc, etc. But either way, that's the game mode that comes basic with Rebirth. And I love that game mode for many reasons, and I can dive into that in a separate video, right? But I do want to talk about Rebirth and why Rebirth is so much better than Verdansk, right? So Season 3 just dropped with Call of Duty, with Cold War, with Warzone. If you guys play Warzone, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Everyone was hyped for this new Verdansk map, this brand new map. The nukes were coming, the zombies came, and then there was going to be a huge nuke that dropped, and we were hoping for at least a brand new map, right? Like, that was the highest expectations. And what did we get? We got the most lazy POS I could ever expect from Activision and Warzone, right? So Verdansk came out in Season 3 with minor changes from the Season 2 map, right? Stadium's a little bit different, there's a random building here and there, but overall, it still plays the same and it still feels the same, right? The colors are a little bit more gray, you know, if anything, you could possibly argue that the game got, you know, possibly uglier, like the actual map itself. But again, you still have this long-range combat mixed with this short range when in buildings, and you know the overall flow of the game is still the same exact thing. Now, again, was I expecting a brand new map? Yes. And so back when, in like December, I believe it was, they were mentioning that Verdansk was going to get wiped out and replaced with basically all the new maps from the Call of Duty Cold War Fire Team game mode, right? So that's like their big team mode, and there's a ton of big maps and whatnot, and they're all going to be combined into one, and then that would provide one Warzone map, right? And we did not get that, right? It was announced, I think, a month ago that that was not happening, that was scrapped, and I think that's when Activision went to the drawing boards and goes, okay, how can we take Verdansk and make this, you know, new and special, right? And what they did was absolute failure, in my opinion. They absolutely failed. So not only is Rebirth very refreshing and very new, and the colors are bright, and the sun is out and whatnot, but it's just consistent, right? And so with one of my complaints with Verdansk and usual Warzone is, again, depending on where you land, you might be running a long time, depending on where the storm starts and where the storm moves to and whatnot. With Rebirth being one island, that is not the case and will never be the case, right? You see the circle right off the bat. If you land on the opposite end, you can still run over to the other end of the map. It's not some crazy deal where you're worrying about the storm and vehicles and whatnot. Although the vehicles in Rebirth, I will say, is a beautiful thing. Either way, another key piece about Rebirth and the size about Rebirth that I like a lot is the fact that the meta and the pool of weapons that are considered meta is wide open when it comes to Rebirth, right? With Verdansk, you need to have that long-range weapon combined with overkill to your secondary weapon, which is probably an SMG or some kind of dual-wielding pistol. Here in Rebirth, you're able to have that difference, right? So in Verdansk, right, it's the M16, it's the Kilo, it's the AUG, you name it. With Verdansk, it's just the same weapons recycled over and over in terms of the meta, in my opinion, again. So if you're not running a MAC-10, an MP5, the LC-10, you're screwed, right? Like, there's no other real weapon that you could use for an SMG. Whereas over here in Rebirth, you're able to use pretty much any SMG there is if you would like to. Now, I do sound kind of hypocritical because the gameplay you're watching, I am using an M16 as well as an LC-10. I just happen to love the LC-10, but either way, Rebirth allows for a larger variety of weapons to actually be viable and to actually hit, right? There's less of that variation between long-range gunfights to short, close-quarter combat. And so with that, you could choose that kind of happy medium that will serve to both ends, if you will. So again, I've seen gameplays from people such as like Bear Pig Central, if you guys know who that is on YouTube and Twitch and whatnot. I think he's gotten like a 20 bomb plus win on Rebirth with almost every weapon in Call of Duty besides like launchers maybe. And so again, that just speaks volumes to the level that Rebirth allows in terms of weapon variety and whatnot. It also allows for more fun with weapons, right? So when we think of meta, right, the last thing we think of is like snipers, you know, HDRs or the Pellington and whatnot. But on Rebirth, you're able to have fun with those weapons, and they are able to be used and actually viable, right? As long as you pack a good SMG or, you know, obviously another weapon to accompany that. But again, like I'm just saying though, is that if you were to run a Pellington LC-10, let's just go for that as an example, right? In Verdansk, you know, and you're caught in the middle of Superstore, good luck. You know, you get that LC-10, good luck, right? Whereas now in Rebirth, you guys can see the gameplay right here. The M16, like I just mentioned, is that long-range weapon for myself. The LC-10 is the secondary. Again, those are both considered meta weapons, but I could be switching that LC-10 or the M16 out for any other weapons in those categories, right? And I can still have fun, right? So again, you know, we've seen people use the AK-74U as SMG on Rebirth. We've seen people use the Street Sweeper, the shotgun class, I want to call it. The shotgun weapon pool is just absolutely deadly on Rebirth, which is just something that cannot be said over on Verdansk, or maybe not by the typical player, right? I'm sure if you put a shotgun in Swag's hand or Aiden or Tfue, yes, they will slay out in Verdansk with even a knife, right? I'm not talking about those people, right? So again, it just allows for that more fun atmosphere, that more fun within weapon selection as well. So you're, you know, the actual status of your game and your performance is not as dependent on your loadout and your weapons. Now, with that being said, you're not going to drop into Rebirth with a MAC-10 with a sniper scope, right? Either way, I've got my point across with that one, so we'll move on to the next topic that I just wanted to bring up, with that being faster games, right? So overall, we know that Verdansk takes a lot longer than a typical Rebirth game. Verdansk can take anywhere between 30, 40, 50 minutes sometimes, which is crazy on the 50-minute side, but regardless, Rebirth is more than that, you know, 15 to 20 minutes, just quick pace action kind of deal. And so while that's pretty obvious and that's straightforward, another point that I wanted to bring up in terms of just time and overall vibe of the game is understanding the time it takes between fights and between action, right? When you drop into Rebirth, it's action nonstop. When you land by yourself on the off chance in Rebirth, you know, again, you could loot up and whatnot, but chances are a team is either going to push you or you have to push to them because you might be out of storm, right? If I'm landing anywhere in Rebirth at my usual spots, I'm always contested. And I'm not even choosing, you know, top prison or bio lab or weapons lab. Again, not these like crazy popular places, right? I have a strategy in mind. I have a usual route that I like to go in Rebirth, obviously depending on bus and circle and whatnot. But again, if I land separately, people land with me, and I'm completely fine with that. That's action off the drop. If I die right away off drop, I can just spawn back into a new game and just play again and get into a new plane, and we're good to go, right? Whereas in Verdansk, if you land somewhere by yourself or with your team, let's just say way off into farmland, let's just say as an example, right? You might be looting for a good 5, 10, 15 minutes sometimes, right? Before you find any enemies at all. And then the chances of them absolutely just squad wiping you is there, right? Again, I'm sure that comments will go nuts in this video and they'll say, well, you know, if you're good, you won't get squad wiped. Guys, we've all been there. We've all faced either cheaters, hackers, absolute sweats wearing rose skins that absolutely wipe us in ways that we just did not know we could wipe. Yes, front to back. Anyway, so what I'm saying is, why would I want to spend the 5, 10, 15 minutes of getting that loot and looting up and, you know, whatnot, only get wiped right away. If I'm going to get wiped right away and lose out a game, right, I'd much rather have it be right away so I can jump into that new game and start slaying out, right? The reason why I'm only showing 2 gameplays on the screen right now is because, again, in both of these clips, in both of these videos, we were able to get a lot of kills in a short amount of time. That's a lot of action, a lot of non-stop moving, and a lot of non-stop just general fighting and action, gunplay, etc. Right? With Verdansk, again, it just takes forever. When I find a team, it kind of almost startles me, right? When I jump into Rebirth, it's like, okay, I know where this team's going to be. I know where the hot spots are. I know different jumps, different ways to approach these teams and, you know, these areas and whatnot. Again, it's just a lot more fast-paced, and it's a lot more of actual playing, actual 1v1 fights, actual snipes, actual SMGs, whatever it may be, and a lot less of waiting, watching, spectating your teammates, waiting for the buyback, waiting for, you know, the game to end. It's just a lot more enjoyable and a lot more fun. I don't know about the audience that watches my videos, but I know for a fact that I am a player. I have a full-time job during the day, and I'll play at night. You know, after the gym, after my work is done, after I have dinner with Brittany and whatnot, right? So for me, I want to maximize that time. And maximizing that time for me is not spectating my teammates. It's not, you know, looting up, seeing no one for 5-10 minutes, and then going and, you know, shot from somewhere else. That's not fun to me. So again, furthermore, why I think that Rebirth is just so much better than Verdansk. You even heard it yourselves, right? That those 1 to 2 nights that Verdansk was down essentially between season 2 and season 3, where there was that night mode Rebirth, right? You heard so many streamers that are honestly always on Verdansk. For example, I was watching Nate Merckx, right? And Nate Merckx was forced to play Rebirth, and he was just saying, you know, like, this slaps, right? Like, this is awesome. This is exactly what Call of Duty needs, and I completely agree, right? I would love to see Symphony and, you know, Nick Merckx and Swag and Booyah and whatnot play Rebirth a lot more. That would be sick, you know, personally. But again, it just feels like there's no exposure. There's no reason not to play Verdansk if you are of that high caliber of a content creator, right? There's no reason. Activision is not giving you a reason to go play Rebirth. There's no map updates, which I really, really hope there is. You know, I wish that they would maybe fix the hole in the ceiling in the prison, or add something over to the right of the prison where it's just bare, like, just landscape. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel there's a lot that this map can do and that they could do to this map to make it kind of like more fresh and incentivize those average Verdansk players to give Rebirth a try. I think that there's a big hesitation when trying out Rebirth for the first time, but either way, guys, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about Rebirth, if you guys like it, if you guys don't, what you guys like about it, what you guys don't, and why you guys like Verdansk over Rebirth, if that is true or not. Either way, guys, I'll see you guys later. Top box is a previous video, and the bottom box is a mystery video like always. I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Have a great day.